The division between North and South Korea is one of the most significant and fascinating political separations in modern history. Despite sharing the same language, cultural heritage, and ancient history, these two nations couldn't be more different today. So how did it come to this? Let's dive into the story behind the divide and explore the major differences that now exist between North and South Korea. Before World War II, Korea was a unified nation under the Joseon dynasty for over 5 centuries. However, Japan annexed Korea in 1910, marking the beginning of a harsh colonial rule that lasted until the end of the Second World War in 1945. When Japan surrendered, Korea was liberated, but the country was left in a fragile and vulnerable state. With the Cold War just starting, the Korean peninsula became a geopolitical battleground between the Soviet Union and the United States. In 1945, Korea was divided along the 38th parallel, with Soviet forces occupying the north and U.S. forces occupying the south. This division, initially intended to be temporary, became permanent as the Cold War intensified. In 1948, 2 separate governments were established: the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, North Korea, backed by the Soviet Union, and the Republic of Korea, South Korea, supported by the U.S. Korean War, 1950 to 1953, only deepened the divide. Although the fighting ended with an armistice, no peace treaty was ever signed, leaving North and South Korea technically still at war. The Korean Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, stands today as one of the most heavily fortified borders in the world, symbolizing the split between 2 very different Koreas. The primary difference between North and South Korea is their political systems. North Korea, under the leadership of Kim Il-sung, adopted a strict communist regime with totalitarian control. This system continues today under the leadership of Kim Jong-un, making North Korea one of the few remaining communist dictatorships in the world. In this system, the government has absolute control over every aspect of life, from what people can say to what they can wear. Individual freedoms are non-existent, and dissent is met with harsh punishment. On the other hand, South Korea embraced democracy and capitalism. Since the end of military rule in the late 1980s, South Korea has become one of the most vibrant democracies in Asia. Freedom of speech, the press, and political expression are protected by law, and citizens have the right to vote in free elections. This political system has allowed South Korea to thrive economically and socially, becoming a major player on the global stage. Economically, North and South Korea are worlds apart. North Korea's economy is highly centralized, with the government controlling all production and distribution. This system, combined with international sanctions, has led to widespread poverty, food shortages, and economic stagnation. Most North Koreans live in poor conditions, with limited access to modern technology, healthcare, and basic necessities. In stark contrast, South Korea has become an economic powerhouse. Known for its technology, automobile industry, and pop culture, think K-pop and Korean dramas, South Korea has one of the largest economies in the world. Companies like Samsung, Hyundai, and LG are household names globally. South Korea's focus on education, innovation, and trade has transformed the country into a hub of technological advancement and cultural influence. The isolation of North Korea extends to its people. The government controls all media, and citizens have no access to the internet or outside news. Propaganda is a way of life, and the population is taught to idolize the Kim family as godlike figures. Travel is heavily restricted, both within the country and abroad. North Koreans are largely unaware of the world beyond their borders, living in a bubble created by their government. South Korea, on the other hand, is one of the most connected societies in the world. With high internet penetration and a vibrant social media culture, South Koreans are in constant touch with global trends. South Korea's music, movies, and fashion have gained massive popularity worldwide thanks to the global phenomenon known as the Korean Wave. The country is open to the world and embraces new ideas, fostering creativity and cultural exchange. Human rights is another area where the differences between North and South Korea are stark. North Korea is one of the most repressive regimes in the world. Freedom of expression, religion, and movement are virtually non-existent. Many reports from defectors and human rights organizations describe horrific conditions in labor camps, where people are sent for perceived disloyalty to the regime. In South Korea, human rights are protected under a democratic constitution. South Koreans enjoy high standards of living, access to quality education, healthcare, and a variety of personal freedoms. The country consistently ranks high in global indexes measuring human development and quality of life. The question of reunification is always looming over the Korean peninsula. Both North and South Korea officially support the idea of reunification, but the reality of it seems far off. The two nations have taken drastically different paths, and the prospect of merging these divergent systems presents significant challenges. While there have been occasional talks and symbolic gestures, like the meetings between the two leaders, the fundamental differences remain. At the end of the day, North and South Korea are two sides of the same coin, shaped by the same history but now living entirely different realities. What the future holds for these two nations is uncertain, but one thing is clear: the story of their division continues to capture the world's attention.